I saw the king's shadow move when he wasn't there. They said King Obiri could see through walls and hear whispers carried by the wind. I didn't believe it until that night. I was one of the servants in his palace, a boy who swept floors and carried water. The king never looked at me, but we all feared him. He ruled with a sharp tongue and a sharper blade. People vanished after upsetting him, sometimes entire families. One evening, I stayed too long near the great hall, cleaning the corners. That's when I heard the cries. They were soft at first, then louder, like someone begging. I peered through a crack in the door and saw the king, standing over a man tied to the floor. He held a knife, and his robes were already stained red. The man pleaded, "Mercy, my king." The king didn't speak. He only smiled and leaned closer. I stepped back, but the wooden floor creaked. The king's head snapped toward me, and his eyes, dark and empty, met mine. I ran. I ran so fast my feet barely touched the ground, but the sound of his voice followed me. "Catch him," he said softly. I didn't stop until I reached the river outside the palace walls. I jumped in, hiding beneath the reeds, shaking and crying. For days, I hid in the forest, but I never felt safe. I saw shadows moving between the trees, and at night, I heard whispers calling my name. When I finally returned to the village, the palace guards were waiting. They didn't speak. They only handed me a scroll with the king's seal. My hands trembled as I opened it. "Come back," it said, "or your family pays the price." I wanted to run, but I couldn't. Not with my family's lives at stake. I walked back to the palace, my legs heavy like stone. The king waited for me in the great hall. The same knife rested in his hand. "I knew you would come," he said. His voice was calm, too calm. Then he smiled. I still hear his laughter when I close my eyes. I still feel the coldness of that hall. And I still wonder if I ever really left.